Stand by. Welcome to LG AHL PSN. It's the playoffs, the Calder Cup playoffs here in Season 7. And you're watching live hockey on LeagueGaming.com. Hi, everyone. T-Sibs with you as usual. Once again tonight, very happy to bring back the team of Marks and Crocodile, who are going to help me with tonight's call. And gentlemen, glad to have you guys back again. We had some real interesting games last night. A lot of good action, and a couple of series at 3-1, including the Springfield Thunderbirds and the Hershey Bears, with Springfield up 3-1 right now. But you don't think you could sleep on Hershey, and very quickly they could be right back into this and force a Game 7. I feel like every series, maybe not the Marley series, but I think the other 3 series we kind of think, I'm thinking, are going to go 7. I think only one series is going to be done tonight, and I think we're going to have a lot of hockey to watch tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, you know what, I tell you, I thought after last night, I thought that the Marlies were going to close it out in this Game 5 here and just call it a day. But after I'm looking at the lineup that they put out the same exact lineup that lost 4-0 last night in Game 4. It's the same lineup on both sides. So I mean, they're giving Rochester an opportunity to make this a series, and it's not exactly a managerial decision I agree with.
Yeah, and don't sleep on that second game, though. They've got the Deer Hunter line in versus Six's line again. So, I mean, that's a tall task if they can get past this J-Fish lineup, the Americans, in Game 1. So, I mean, they're going to need to have a little bit of a miracle in Game 2, I would think. But you're right. A little momentum goes a long way.
Games are going to be starting up soon. We know some of the locker rooms are full right now, just about getting ready to get going here. We're going to take a quick look at the playoff grid, and right now, again, you know where these series are, but we'll share this with you right now. Penguins Penguins are getting beaten by the Bears, obviously, in the first round. Bears and Thunderbirds at it right now. You see where that series is, 3-1 in favor of the Thunderbirds. The Marlies up 3-1. Americans stayed alive with a win last night, and so they are looking to try and keep this going. And who knows, maybe 4 in a row? Is that possible? Not thinking it's going to be, but you never know. On the other side, Wild and the Moose tied up at 2, and you've got the Reign and the Rampage. Another really good series, and again, maybe quietly, guys, this has been a pretty damn good series between these two teams, where the Rampage, maybe the Reign might have more talent overall, but the Rampage certainly don't give up ever, and they showed it last night, even in a loss where they came back being down 3-0, only to lose that one 3-2, and then came back and won Game 4. So I'm really excited to watch that one, because the Reign have been pretty solid all year long, and the Rampage, I think, have quietly built a really nice team and could very well be a contender for all of this.
Yeah, I mean, Rampage is throwing out some heavy hitters tonight. I'm just looking at numbers like Perfect Skills QC with 52 goals on the season, plus 40. They got Full Throttle on defense. I mean, they're throwing out their top players in this next game here. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people might think.
The T-Birds and the Bears have gotten underway, and we'll listen in and we'll take a look at this game for a little while.
Tip to the net. What a reaction save.
Quick opportunity.
A lot of room to score from in that area.
Red Raider right there for it. He's going to have his hands full tonight. You know, the Bears are really going to pump him as much as they can.
And this is 2 top lines against each other tonight, right? With Bottle and Lucupido and Cornex's line on the other side. It's going to be a really good matchup in terms of the forwards tonight, for sure.
Solid defensive play there.
Americans and Marley's about ready to go. And Minnesota hasn't quite gotten their whole roster together yet, so we'll wait for that one to start up. Obviously, that's another big game tonight.
And they've got it again. Pitched right ahead.
Just
getting squared away here. I'm excited to watch this Wild and Moose series, at least for this next game 5 and 6, because as we were talking about last night, the Wild have thrown their top 3 scorers already for their 2 games. But at the same time, the Moose threw their top line in games 1 and 2. So tonight it's going to be a battle of the second and third lines for both of these teams. We're just going to have to see like which team has the most depth and can take out the other.
And I think I'm expecting them to pretty much split these games tonight, just based on the lineups that we saw. I think the Go Hawks line is going to get it done in game 2, and I think game 1's up for grabs right now. I'd probably say the Moose have the better advantage in that one, but definitely thinking that they're going to split, not just because I want it to go 7, but because the lineups kind of tell you that it might.
Peters is in his own zone, trying to get to center ice.
I tell you what, I'm looking at the line. I'm just looking at the lineups for at least even though we're watching the 9:30, I'm looking at the 10:30. I was putting in an ECU right defender again, and since they can't use Omnicidal Havoc again, they're using this guy Skin23, who, by the looks of it, spent the entire season this year on the CHLTC. And there's a career minus 122 CHL.
Whoa.
So
those are tough numbers.
You're going to have this guy playing right D. It looks like he's going to be covering JMM. So I know JMM likes to play in the corner a lot. So let's see if he covers him or if he gets undressed.
Yeah, damn, that's rough.
Deal Maker, I think, has joined us now. Deal, you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, how's it going? Deal, or Anderson, as you know him in the league, is not obviously in this game because he's with us. Is there a stream for you guys tonight? I haven't seen anybody start up one yet.
IC is streaming right now.
IC? Okay.
IC before UC.
Yeah.
Springfield's in possession as they travel through the new.
What game are we watching here on the screen?
We've got the Bears and the Thunderbirds right now. The Wild and the Moose is still gathering, so that's going to be a little bit of time before that gets together.
Yeah, we're just waiting on Dewar right now.
In the defensive zone.
Or on whoever.
This first period of this Thunderbirds game has been fairly low chance. They're both playing each other very well right now.
Shifts to the backhand and shoots. Back on his stick. Great job on a cut pass.
We talked a little bit earlier about your game, your situation over in the West there, and so obviously you guys have a really solid squad, and maybe the Rampage, not well known within the league, but you guys played them a lot this season, and I kind of feel like maybe they're a little underrated. They play hard and they don't give up, and I kind of feel like you guys already knew that before you got into the series.
Yeah, we didn't take them very lightly at all. I mean, they're a very good team. Their offenses, all 3 lines are deadly. I mean, a lot of their guys had a lot more points than our guys, but we play a very different game. We play a very defensive game, which, in the last 4 games, I mean, how many goals were there? I think we held them to, I didn't do the math, but it's lower than their normal goals per game. But, it's been very tight. Every game has been 1 goal.
And Deal, I actually have a question. Oh, wow, that was the whistle? Okay.
Just at the whistle. That one did not count. Almost a goal there for Springfield, but
that was a sniper. Just a question. So we watched your first game last night. You get up early, 3-0 lead, and then the Rampage kind of battled back. They definitely made a game of it when we thought it was going to be over. Did you guys have a talk in the Discord or whatever chat they're using about that situation and giving up a 3-goal lead, or was it something just kind of forget about it and move on to the next game?
Yeah, we might have gotten a little sloppy there near the end, but we held it together. But we all watched the games from previous days, and we watch all the streams, and everyone does their own part. I don't really have to, or nobody really has to tell anybody. Everyone just knows.
That's it.
Right, a lot of experience on my team. A lot of guys who have been in the league for a long time.
Right, boys.
And we just talked about what we're going to do tonight.
For sure. And obviously great job holding the fort in that game. And we were wondering if it was going to carry over into game 2 and the loss in that game, but it's good. I mean, having that veteran leadership is definitely going to help. And I mean, at this point in the playoffs, you kind of have to have it, or it's a rip for the season, right? So it's good to hear that you guys are calm, cool, and collected, and hoping that'll carry over for you tonight for sure.
Yep. And look, I guess to answer your question, look who's in net. It's funny too, because I had no say in the matter here, right? It was all the management, and I told them I'm not gonna sit back and let him play. I want the challenge. I want to be there in these important games, but it wasn't my call, right? It was their call, and they decided to go with him, which I'm fine with. You know what I mean? He's a great goalie, and it's 9:40. Where are they? I think that could be a GG right there.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I have the right IC stream, but
Hey, you got an underscore. Hold on 1 second. One second.
Yeah, it's IC before UC and then underscore.
Ah, well, that would be why. There is one of those. So okay, well, we'll kick over there.
All right, they just jumped in there, so you guys should be 6-on-6.
All right, we're seeing that now. We'll kick back over. Just take a look at the end of the Amerks Toronto first period. Looks like the Moose and the Wild are about to get going. The Moose sent the invite, so let's see if anything happens there.
It looks like we're getting started now. They got an ECU on right D.
Springfield up 1-0 now here too.
Yep, and we're looking at that on the side. We'll wait for this first period to be down. Give the Marlies and the Americans a little bit of time here as we get on to the other games, but they're all about to get underway now, so... Again,
so
good action tonight.
Rampage has a ECU?
Yeah, right D. Kick has 8,000.
Okay. A lot of ECUs in these games. If I would, you'd have the guys show up, but we've already said it a couple times where, a few big teams using ECUs on defense specifically. That's not a good thing, I would say. I mean, it's always good to have a good ECU base, but to rely on them in a clutch situation when they're not playing with you all year, it's could cause some problems.
Well, that's why you got to keep them involved, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we gotta. Okay, now it looks like the Moose thought that they were the home team, and they were searching, but now I think they realized that the Wild are the home team. So the Wild are sitting there waiting for somebody to accept their invite.
Oh, there's a goal from the Thunderbirds.
Springfield up now 2-0, and
number 57. Wow. That's a familiar number.
Yep.
Corny has both goals in this game, as you see, and Twister, NHL Twister, having a good playoff still. We haven't talked a lot about him, but he's been playing really well. He's put up good numbers so far in the playoffs, and Kornak, I've talked to him a lot lately. He keeps saying, look, make sure you talk about Twister because he's been a great partner there, and you give Kornak help, he's good enough on his own. You give him help, and damn, that gets dangerous.
It's a great 1-2 combo that the Thunderbirds have with that top line with Twister and Kornak. I mean, those two, they know how to win in big games, and they know how to score goals, which is all you can ask for when it comes to a forward line.
Keep an eye on this one for a little bit. We're going to switch over to the game in the West. Take a look a little bit at that Ontario San Antonio game.
Yeah, I'm checking out that ECU that jumped in for the Rampage. What's his name? Kickass.
8,000, yeah.
Kickass 8,000. Listen, he's no joke. It looks like he was a draft prospect of some kind. He spent the season in the CHL. He went 19-5 with 4 goals, 24 assists, and a +38. So I mean, he had a good season in the CHL.
So he can play.
Yeah, he can play. He signed up as a right wing, but they played him as a defender down there by the looks of it.
Yeah, we're still at that point in the PSN side where, and we're going to be there for a few seasons, maybe a few years, where there'll be guys joining up in the CHL, and clearly they belong at the next level and then beyond in the next season. And we're still, again, we're still building these tiers of players, and you're going to find these gems down there in the CHL without question. We're seeing it happen a lot, actually.
Well, it's good to see at least that they have a good, reliable guy that they can call on in a time of needs, especially in a playoff situation.
Catch the rest of this second period, then we'll switch over to Ontario, and it looks like the Rampage have put one in here to go ahead 1-0 here halfway through the first period, just scoring on Ontario.
Got to close off that passing lane going into the slot there. The guy he was left all alone there in the slot to take that slapper.
Rochester and Toronto, no score halfway through that game now, halfway through the second. And Manitoba and Iowa, no score there. About 4 minutes into the game there.
It's a wrap for that Hershey's Thunderbird. Hey, it's been a pretty low event game for them. I mean, 2 goals on the board, but we didn't see quite the excitement that we saw in the last game with the open ice. So it's the 2 tight checking lines going against each other, and just some quick one-timers in the slot for the Thunderbirds there.
Taking a look right now at the San Antonio, Ontario game. As you see, 6 minutes left in this one. San Antonio with the 1-0 lead. And a nice glove save there by NJ's very own.
That was a pretty nice save.
NJ's very own is a good goalie. I played with him in Season 3 in the CHL. I mean, when he's on his game, he can steal one for you.
But yeah, you know what, Deal? It's a damn good it's a damn good problem to have when you've got you and Icy in net. I mean, that's what you hope for in the playoffs. If you're lucky, you make a move late in the season or whatever the case may be, and you've got 2 really good goaltenders that you don't feel is a problem at all. Those are the teams that win more often than not.
Yeah, it is. It's a hard problem to have too. Because even last season we had IC and Kickapoo.
Right.
And who played Game 7? They were both playing really good. So it was really impossible to pick.
You guys tell you goaltenders pretty damn well then.
That guy, Kickapoo, I also had on one of my teams a couple seasons ago. That guy is legit.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is awesome, and I know he was on the Barracuda this year. And I know the Sharks had a thing in our Discord where it would give LG updates in our Discord anytime somebody, what the final score was, or anytime somebody got first or third or whatever stars of the week, and that dude's name popped up every single week in the stars of the week.
Got the Manitoba game up right now, and that's 1-0. The Moose in lead here. 6.5 left to go in the first period, as you see. We'll keep an eye on the Springfield Hershey game. It's still 2-0. Third period underway, 4 minutes in. But we'll keep an eye a little bit on this Moose game, and then head back to Hershey and back to the West, and who knows? We may have something interesting going on in Toronto if those teams continue to battle each other in this game.
Cleared back out. This will force him to drop back a lot. He takes that one right ahead. Good pass. The Bears have killed off the penalty. Penalty box is empty for them. I'm not so sure that takes a chance on the jump to the opposite corner.
Good job.
Shoots.
Shoot.
Wonderful.
Nice shot.
Oh.
Keep shooting this. Let's go.
Shooter. Seems like he was in.
Nice save by Dr. Nasty in this one.
And that's something that I was looking for this game. Nasty had a rough game in Game 2, was it, last night, being a little bit all over the ice. So definitely wanted to see how he reacted to tonight and to see if that kind of hung over from last night. But it looks like he's kind of back on his game.
Like I said, and Deal can talk to this as well, because again, if the game is going well and your defensemen are playing well, it's easy to keep your position. As soon as they start letting passes go by that they should have intercepted, should have blocked off, not taking the shooter instead of the lead, the guy trailing, that starts happening, and you start getting a little bit concerned, and then you start doing what Nasty was doing, which is trying to anticipate so it can slide over to try and block that shot that was coming from a one-timer, and he was just sliding a lot because it seemed like he was concerned about his defense.
Yeah, you got to be able to trust your D. I kind of have a thing where I only play goalie if I get to pick the defense. So, like, if you see me in drop-in, like Sibs, when we play drop-ins,
right.
You ever see me in net?
No.
No, that's right.
Rochester has the 1-0 lead in this one, just underway in the third period. We'll keep an eye on that game as well. Just wanted to drop in and let you guys see that.
The lead has just been cut in half. Let's see if momentum changes now.
We'll kick back over to the San Antonio and Ontario game here. And then we'll head over to Springfield and Hershey in a minute. Right now it is Springfield 2-1. Now Hershey got on the board. 7.5 left to go in that one. We'll get there in a couple of minutes and try and watch the rest of that third period.
And the Rainer almost threw, killing a power play here, and they might have just taken another penalty.
Oh, yeah.
No?
No, they drew one.
No, they drew one. Okay, cool. I was like, that sucks.
4-1 for the good guys.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Only a couple seconds left, so it's going to turn out being a power play for Ontario.
Yeah.
Go Ontario.
And Springfield, as you say, as we're talking about that one, just put a third goal up on the board. They're up 3-1 right now.
Dude.
And was that Cornecht again? I think it might have been. Well, they're calling that. Is that a Hershey goal? I'm trying to. No, it is 3-1 right now. Yeah, it looks like they're replaying the earlier goal in that game. But Springfield has just gone up 3-1. Shots on goal 12-9 in favor of Springfield. So keeping Hershey down. Yep, Cornecht scoring his third goal in this game. He's got all 3 goals.
Putting it on his back.
And Rader gets an assist, by the way, on that goal, too. So
big assist. And the Rain have squandered their power play. They took a penalty, by the way, so we're 4-on-4 there.
And now Hershey comes back with a goal to get it to 3-2. We're going to cut over to that game and watch the rest of this here, the last 4:17 of it. Keep an eye on that San Antonio, Ontario game as well.
It's going to be another overtime game. Just another one to add to the books.
Game is definitely a lot more fast-paced than some of the ones that we were watching last night.
Manitoba's still up 1-0. 14 minutes left to go in the second.
Ooh, 2-on-1 for the Thunderbirds.
Careful, don't push it.
Defense came back to help out. Good play there.
Springfield's in their own end, lugging it along. Onside.
Great zone entries there. And there's Bears going to be going on the penalty kill here now, too. So with a minute left in the game, you're going to have to do something special here with the penalty kill.
Rampage picks up another one, making it 3-0.
Oh, wow.
The Bears handed a minor penalty for tripping. Anything?
And the Wild pick up another goal, tying it up 1-1.
Some interesting things happening today.
Yeah,
So much at once.
A lot of action.
Yeah.
Give it to the compy.
I blame EA and the servers.
I think the Wild have a compy in there right now at the center position, so they must have had a lag out there, and they're killing a penalty while they scored that goal as well. Might have been the computer player who scored it.
Oh, God. That is frustrating as hell for the other team.
That'll be shoutbox material a little later.
Yeah. in one of the most just toxic freaking matchups we've seen in these playoffs, these guys, any excuse they have to get in there, they will.
27 seconds left to go as we're watching Springfield now. Still up 3-2 on the power play, just trying to keep it in the zone, move it around. Hershey has to come out. They clear it, but they need to get some offense going here.
It's a veteran move by the Thunderbirds.
Good steal, nice play, pinching in.
Get away with the stick. It's a point, hammers.
Ooh.
Good block. Hershey still controlling.
Now need a shot.
And he shoots one.
Yeah,
What a
he's
break.
center.
That's
Yeah,
not
he's
hit
center.
somebody.
Wow.
Almost in time with the tip in, but no.
My goodness.
It did not go in time. It was a great tip, by the way.
Oh,
Wow.
that's frustrating.
Oh, Hershey's got to be unhappy about that one.
Listen, they got their luck last night with that like 4 seconds left.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
It was an outstanding game.
Wow.
Springfield closing this series out 4-1. And boy, Hershey, it's the first game not in overtime. Almost went to overtime right there. But Hershey played a damn good series. 4-1, not indicative of what was really going on there. So
What a way to end the series.
And you got under a minute to go in the Toronto game with a 1-goal lead.
we're going to flip over to that one. We see halfway through the game, Manitoba and Iowa 1-1. Let's kick over to that Rochester and Toronto game. Yeah, 1-0, 28 left to go.
I think we kind of expected the Americans to kind of take that game over like they did in the game yesterday.
I'm telling you, I really didn't agree with that decision to put that same exact lineup out there. And I think Rochester saw they were putting that line out again. And they said, "Screw it, we're going to put the same guys that put up 4 on you last night."
You know, and as this game winds down, you know, Orioles, the GM for the Marlies, I think he's one of the better managers in the AHL. I think there's a method to his madness. This might have been a situation where he's giving his third line a chance to redeem themselves and to get some confidence going into the next series. But, you know, sometimes it goes the other way.
Well, we're now watching Iowa and Manitoba. We'll take a quick look over. You see a third period just about to start with Ontario down 3-0. We'll kick back over to the Wild and the Moose.
With a Compy center. That's rough. Just see how they can play with it. He's already made some pretty good turnovers, so Gilroy really making a difference in this game in the second period. Killing it out there. Ooh, big save.
Who lagged out for Gilroy?
I'm not sure who their center was in that game,
Chad
honestly.
or Fox or someone?
I'll let you know.
Probably CJ.
Yeah, it would be game 1. Yeah, it was CJ.
Yeah. So CJ 58 lagged out there.
So it'll be a shorter period for the third period. So if someone gets up early, you're going to have to see everybody start to activate. We kind of saw that last night as well, too, with that game where they had to kill most of the period off.
We'll flip back over. While that one gets a restart, we'll watch San Antonio and Ontario right now with the Rampage up 4-1. 16 left to go in the third period. Good play. Again, the Rampage have played well. Even when they lost, they played hard right to the end.
Yeah.
The Reign have done that all season long. These are two really strong-willed teams who have a lot of talent, but have a lot of smarts in this game too. From the players that you see on these rosters, there's a lot of good. A lot of good veterans, a lot of good players who have shown all season long that they know how to play a good team game, and it's been kind of fun watching these two teams play in this series.
Impressive on the Rampage side with an ECU right D, full throttle, pretty much doing his thing out there. As he's pretty much an NHL player, I would say. Really just shutting the Reign down right now. And there's
Page goal.
yeah, that's a nice play, good patience, not forcing the cross crease. It's a really good move. Just take the net.
Here in the third. You can see momentum in this game shifted, and it is expanding even more. The advantage is 4 goals.
And I think why we're not hearing Deal right now is he's trying to get himself into the next game.
No, I'm not.
Type it in the Discord. I hear his fingers going.
What is this, the fucking Bash Ontario show here?
Hey, we do it because we love you.
I'm also in the game chat right now, so I'm just talking with them too.
And what's the mood right now from the team? Are you being supportive, or is it more looking towards next game already?
And smiley faces and all that shit.
Okay.
No, like whatever. We got lots of time here. 9 minutes left. I mean, how long does it take to score a goal? 4.4 seconds.
Something like that.
So it looks like we have time for like 20 goals or so.
Always the optimist.
Quick and a terrific save. One timer out.
And the Rampage are moving the puck very well right now. Looks like they're hitting their stride here as a line. I really haven't seen it go down the ice in the last couple minutes here. With a 5-on-3 power play, I would expect that.
This is Icy's at least his second game, right?
This is his third game.
It's his third game. Okay.
When you act like that, there might be a chance.
He played 2 on Sunday. I played 2 yesterday, and he's got 2 today.
Okay.
And I don't know if we haven't seen all the goals, but from the goals that we've seen, I don't know if we could really blame it on him anyways.
No.
He's been there.
Fuck. Don't speak so soon.
Yeah. Hey, that happens.
Hey,
Gotta be good to be lucky to be good as a goalie some of these times.
He's scheduled for the next game, but of course you're always allowed one change at the end. Now he's got to deal with a breakaway.
Ontario's
Oh, tried to do something dirty with it there, but couldn't make it happen. Now wrap.
Big save.
Big save.
Big save.
Yeah, he's a goat.
Oh, boy, what a good one-timer pass there. That was incredibly tough.
Ontario's goal has built an even bigger lead.
Still time.
Yeah, you gotta really rely on your D-man to stop those.
You can throw it around.
Especially in tight like that, it's almost impossible to get across on those unless you're cheating. And as a goalie, when you get sniped short side, people start to moan and groan your name if you don't. So it's important to take your man and trust your defense, right?
To Toulouse.
Well, you have to. I mean, look, if you're gonna play net in this game, if you don't trust your D and you're gonna slide everywhere to try and make something happen, you're gonna get burned more often than not. Any good goaltender in this league will tell you that, and that's a lesson that I had to learn. It's probably a lesson that a lot of goaltenders have had to learn over the last few seasons. You can't think you're going to anticipate everything. You just got to be positionally sound. Look for what you think the next play might be, but don't be starting to hit the button too soon. Trust in your D-men, because if they don't get it, then it is what it is.
For sure. And I've always looked at it like I need to stop 100% of the shots that I need to stop or that I should stop. And if I could stop maybe 50% of the ones that I shouldn't technically be stopping, then we're probably going to win the game.
Pass attempt to Bella.
I always tell the goalies that you have to trust your defenseman, and you have either 2 choices. Choice 1 is trust your defenseman, or choice 2, talk to your manager and get defenseman you can trust. Because if you can't trust your defenseman, it's going to be a whole season of 1-Ts.
Yeah.
Good poke stab.
It's a good point. And just to check in on the Wild series, they've killed off the penalty that they had to take for the disconnect.
What was the score in the restart?
It was 1-1 for 1-1 tie.
And we got that.
The Moose are dominating right now. They're getting a lot of high quality shots.
We're watching that game right now. You saw there was a little more than 4 minutes left to go in the Ontario
Nice pass.
and San Antonio game. We'll kick over on this side and get a final on that one when it shows up. But let's keep an eye on this game now between Manitoba and Iowa.
Oh my God.
Yep, and this is a big swing game, right? You know, being on the ropes, you want to get the other team on the ropes. You never want to be in danger of elimination game. So this third period is pretty big, and potentially overtime is going to be a tough played game.
Oh my God!
Is in possession as they travel up the wing. That puck
Oh, good. We got a power play.
40 seconds left to go in that one. San Antonio up 6-1 now. Let's see if Ontario can build off of something here.
So there's still time.
You're very optimistic, Teal.
I know.
I guess you have to be, right? I mean,
You gotta be. Because if you're not, then everyone else is not.
Oh, what a D play. Nice. Watch the force.
snapping a pass to Van.
Oh man, look at all the time and space that the Moose corner they have in the corner. The Moose team, they're getting a lot of time and they're clogging up the middle. So you're gonna see if they don't drive the net a little bit harder.
Game final now. Rampage winning 6-1 in that one.
And they are in. Broke it up well with the poke check. High
Good
to the
shot, okay.
mids.
Good try. Good shot. Oh.
Yeah, I was on my back.
Got numbers coming back the other way here from Manitoba.
One-timer.
Good shit, man. It's a nice fucking block. Let's go.
Trip there.
Let's go.
Big trip.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's gonna be good to end the period too. Right, 4 minutes left. You get a 2-minute power play. You're cutting that in half. Get some momentum here, even though they tell us.
Play super defensive.
Definitely is.
Looks like Barakov's going off here on the show pucks.
Uh-oh. But what?
No, they're not going off. Sorry, I just misread it.
Okay. Because I think he went 0-2, right? Because he was in that game. He was in the game last night.
I don't know.
I believe so, yes.
We had a warm-up with him. He was in net last night, and they beat us. But then again, I was on my iPad the whole time. You know, when I play goalie and it's not an LG game, I'm not looking. I'm watching MasterChef or Kitchen, MasterChef Junior, MasterChef Canada.
Just love the cooking shows.
Yeah, they're great.
Big Gordon Ramsay fan.
Now, I
Got
can sit
another
there and
disconnect.
I can
Disconnect in the Wild game.
Jeez.
So CJ is out again. They're probably gonna have to restart if for overtime unless this ends quicker. But it looks like CJ is having trouble with his connection, which is definitely a problem.
Yeah, you see, we're looking at their feed, so you see that they've got 4 guys listed there, and of course, Matt Static, who is providing the feed for this one. So we will endeavor to find out what's going on with CJ.
Let's Gilroy could do something here. Never know. What a way to take a lead.
Again, and you know, Leafs has been just so good now, and now Nasty playing a very good game for Manitoba tonight. The goaltending, I really felt like in past seasons you had to get to the semis, at least the semis, maybe the finals, to see really good goaltending, but we're seeing it sooner now.
Yeah, Leafs is definitely having himself a series right now. He's going to be in the MVP list, and there's another penalty by the Wild, so they're going to have a 5-on-3 to start overtime if we get there.
Get this whistle now before the next period because they'll have a 5-on-3.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Big saves.
On the stream, they were saying they need to get the puck right away, the Wild, so that there wasn't going to be a 2-man advantage for too long in the overtime. Yeah. It was.
Takes that pass behind the
net. Just got to worry about getting there first.
Defensive play there.
15. Manitoba trying to find an opening.
Yep.
Couldn't get it back.
Look at the collapse too. All 3 of the human players collapsed right down on top of Leafs. They don't want to.
How does this work? They still have
in terms of driving the net.
And then we have to take another one.
Entries, no goals. on that scorecard.
Well, they had power. Yeah, they had time left on the power play, so they're going to have to figure out how that's going to work.
Yeah.
But certainly interesting how that's going to work with getting that restart going. We're just looking at the stats right now between Springfield and Hershey. You saw Springfield win this one by a score of 3-2. Hershey coming back in the third, but not able to come fully back. Only 10 shots on goal for the Hershey Bears in that one. 13 for Springfield. So, again, more of a tighter game. Both teams not wanting to make major mistakes. For Springfield, they could afford to do that.
You have it set up.
Because
then, yeah.
they didn't have, they didn't have a pressing need to really push the offense. But a good game by Red Raider, 8 out of 10 saved, and just another great cornet game. The hat trick, 2 assists by Twister, another good game by him, and this team just continues to roll. Springfield, a ton of talent, and boy, I tell you what, they can get past the East, can get past Toronto or Rochester. It's going to be a really fun series no matter who they play in the West.
For sure. And I think the Thunderbirds, if they were smart, they would tune into the second game of that Rochester and Marley series to see the Deer Hunter line and exactly what you're going to get yourself into. Potentially start thinking of some matchups right away, because they give you a lot to handle, and you need to decide what D-men are going to go up against him, specifically Corneck, who's scoring all the goals, and what forward line matches up best against them. So you're going to want to start looking at that now that your series is over.
And so we're still waiting on a restart here. Sitting here with Dealmaker, Crocodile, and Marks, T-Sibs with you. Early games almost over. Moose and Wild still trying to get their overtime going. That game tied up at 1 apiece. And meanwhile, as we said, Springfield beating Hershey by a score of 3-2 in that one, closing out the series 4-1. And meanwhile, it was Rochester beating Toronto by a score of 1-0 in that game. The lone goal coming from J. Rick. West Side with 14 saves in that shutout. The Marley's going with an ECU at center with Green, but not able to get anything going there with Jay Morris and Matt Sabb playing up front in that one. So kind of a makeshift line. A tough going for them in this one, but certainly give credit to Rochester for not caving in and for putting a goal in the second period and holding on to it for that lead and that victory. Now that series now at 3-2 for Toronto. Rochester, Game 6 is the home team. Let's see if they can take advantage of that and possibly doing something with it. San Antonio, as we said earlier, beating Ontario 6-1. That now in favor of San Antonio, 3-2, and Ontario now needing a win here to force it to a Game 7. Tough going for them, but San Antonio definitely had their offense going, and everybody really playing a part on that for them. And good showing by the Rampage, who look to close it out in here in Game 6 if they can. But as we said, again, another tough matchup in the 10:30 game. Right now, IC is in there at goaltending for the Reign. After giving up 6 guys, and I won't let Deal answer this one. After giving up 6 in that game, and we talked about, a lot of it not his fault. What do you do in this game? Do you keep IC in there, or do you come back with Dealmaker, Croc? How do you feel about it at this point?
I mean, you gotta go with your guys, right? I think taking him out, if the Reign really truly think that they're gonna move on and move to the next round and face a team like the Wild or face a team like Manitoba, you can't guys when they have one bad game, right? You're gonna have different players, different lineups facing up against each other in Game 6. I think you keep IC in there. I think you give him a shot. He's been good for you all year, and not that Deal hasn't been. Both goalies, and once again, awkward that he's in here.
He's been good for us for 2 years.
But both goalies have been phenomenal. I think you just stick with the lineup now. Don't get into your entire lineup's head by making changes, right? I think that's in an elimination game, that's a little bit of a scared move. I would do that more early on in a series than I would later on in a series, just because you pull a goalie out, or you pull a D-man out, or you pull a forward out, and you bring that seed of doubt into everyone's head. So I probably wouldn't do it personally.
I would leave IC in. I mean, after watching that game, like a lot of the goals and a lot of the chances that the Rampage had were. I don't put that on the goalie. The defense left him out to dry a couple times, with at least I want to say two breakaways. Luckily he made those saves, but still, like 2 or 3 breakaways in the game. Guys left wide open in the slot for one-timers, I think, for their 3rd or their 4th goal. They just got to tighten up defensively. I can't put that on the goalie.
Well, Manitoba and Iowa have started back up, but apparently nobody knows how to take a penalty here.
What is this guy doing? He's skating up to center ice and then dipping it over the glass. Like, this is hockey 101. You got to go back in your own zone and do it.
So I don't know. I didn't really get all of that. It was kind of like crack.
Yeah, we want it just like this.
But all I heard was, "Don't put Deal in. He sucks."
There we go.
Anyone but Deal.
That's what you heard, but it's not what we said, I think.
IC has been unreal for us for this season and last season. So I mean, you know what I mean? We trust them going into every game.
Yeah, and I think that's the way you got to think about it. And if it was you, Deal, and you just gave up 6, I'd be saying the same thing. I'd say keep him in. If he's scheduled in to go for the next game, keep him in. Because I just think it's a solid move.
All right, big kill, guys.
All right, now, so the penalties have been taken. There's 1:11 left to go in a 5-on-3 man advantage here in the overtime, and we'll see what Manitoba can do with it.
Oh, and he messed his face-off up, so they're going to lose the face-off here. Oh, big play by Teal. And 5-on-3s are scary for any goalie, but I mean, facing Manitoba, I'd be shitting my pants right now personally. They move the puck around really good, get a lot of different looks. You got to really rely on your forwards to get in the passing lanes.
Yeah, you can't. You've got 5 guys there. You've got to use them all up. Now it's a 5-on-4. You've got to move the puck around. You've got to make them move.
Zerk made a great
save by Reeves. Wow.
Shoot it out. Oh, yeah, that works.
Just a point-blank opportunity there for Manitoba as they come back in. And now the teams are all 5 aside. So an opportunity there wasted.
They're drawing another penalty here.
Yeah.
Penalty after penalty. We know what that gets you usually.
Yeah, you got to stay out of the box, especially versus this team.
Don't chase them when you're playing D back there. Just stay tight on that post because they're wanting you to chase.
Matt Static took the penalty, obviously. We're looking at his feed.
It's a terrible camera angle for an overtime period in the playoffs. But good job skating into the zone.
Moose have got to get the power play cycle going.
Yeah. But the Wild are doing a pretty good job right now of cutting them off. Like, no zone entries. Like, everything's contested. They're going to have to work one here.
I'll be out.
That little action opens up so much room. And penalty over.
Another opportunity for Manitoba.
Nice.
The good shot Leafs is just, he is right where he needs to be all the time so far.
He's in the zone in this series.
Circle.
There it is.
Oh,
and there you go.
Manitoba.
And Manitoba wins this one in overtime. And just not getting, I mean, time after time after time, just not able to do anything with that. No, I believe that is
stay out of the box. You got to get out of the box. You got to stay out of the box in overtime. Like it's bad enough you had a 5-on-3 to start a period, but you really got to get your hands off that poke check button and don't do anything silly. But good round of games for those 930s for sure.
Some good competition, some really good games. And again, now the Wild find themselves needing to win 2 in a row. And again, how are they going to be able to deal with this one? They wound up putting this kid Lifted in there in center, and just to get in there for CJ. He played 2 games this season in the CHL and didn't even play forward. So it's tough when you're getting down to the point there where you're in a do-or-die situation, and I don't know if they play with this kid and they knew whether or not he was going to be able to be useful to them or not, but or if it was a situation where he's the only guy they were able to get in touch with. But lag outs at this point right now in the playoffs, in this second round, that is just you're losing a good player like CJ as well, but just having a lag out is incredibly tough.
It's been plaguing this series all round. Like this is the second or third game that they've had lag outs in. Like they haven't been able to play a clean game on either team, which is unfortunate.
It's a momentum killer also.
For sure.
Because especially on a restart.
We're still waiting for a couple of the finals to come in. And again, because of a couple of lag outs tonight, we're going to get a couple of late submissions. So getting all the full stats might be a little bit of a wait for some of these games. But again, the Moose have now taken a 3-2 lead in their series. And we saw the Marlies now only up 3-2 in there. So a lot of work needs to be done to keep these guys in this one. And this is where these 3-2 series now you've got a lot to say to each other, and you've got to figure out exactly how you're going to make it happen. And it's interesting to see what each of these teams is going to do to be able to get their guys together and figure it out so that they can play a game where they know if they don't win, they're in deep trouble.
Yeah, the Wild are going to have an ECU D, right? We talked about that off the top. They're going to have an ECU right D for the next game. It's a Go Hawks line versus Lobo and JMM. So it's going to be a tough task for the Wild. They're going to have to really show some character here to get through this next game and force a Game 7. It's not looking too hot right now, especially with the availability issues, it looks like. So
who won Game 5?
The Moose did.
Okay.
Yeah, Moose won in overtime.
They split up Nazi and Lobo for tonight.
Yeah, which is interesting. Interesting move.
We talked a little bit about it, and I think we mentioned it even last night, right, guys? That I don't think Nazi had been playing his best hockey of late, and that could affect everybody else on the line, and certainly I think that had something to do with that move tonight.
Yeah.
Well, they moved J.K. Hank over to center for this game. He's typically a right winger, but he's definitely a prolific scorer that's in the league. This is definitely a high firepower offense that the Moose is putting out there. They'll be able to put up some points. If I'm them, I'm going to be attacking that right defender, that ECU, early and often to test him and see what he's got.
And I think that's a great point, right? I mean, on both sides, you're going to have a little bit of weakness, right? If we don't know how Hank face-offs, he's going to face off against Go Hawks, who's played a lot of center in the past. And then you're going to have an ECU right D, who they're going to want to go at. So, your right winger is going to have to come and support that ECU D. And Jones is going to have to be mindful that this right D he hasn't seen very much of, if anything, especially in an LG game, right? So he's going to have to be mindful of that too, and give him as much trust as he can.
Yeah, Go Hawks is a face-off god too.
Yeah. So it's easily could go either way. And when you break it down that way, I still think the ECU is definitely probably the bigger hit to the line. But it should be interesting. They're going to face a good deep pairing. So the Wild are definitely going to have to score some goals. And I think that goes without saying. But, I don't think one or two are going to do it in this game.
What do you guys think about face-offs? You think face-offs make a huge deal?
100%.
Absolutely. It's a game.
Led the leagues in face-offs up range.
Time of possession. Like it sucks to have a center who just can't win the draw every time you have a face-off in the offensive zone. You automatically start without the puck every time you get into the offensive zone. Every time you have a power play, you're giving the puck right back to the other team, and you're losing 15, 20 seconds on your power play because the guy couldn't win a face-off.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it keeps your defense more involved when you can win them face-offs, right? Get the one-timer pass. They just feel the puck a little bit more as opposed to just playing on their heels all game, right? Gives them a little bit of offensive opportunity, especially in the offensive zone. As a center who didn't win face-offs when he did play center, I could tell you that it's definitely hurts your ability to play the game if you can't win face-offs, which is why I'm a goalie.
Oh. I'm a goalie. I'm a goalie because everyone complains that I don't pass.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But you know what I always say?
No.
I don't know if I could say it on the air. Is it censored or anything?
Well, no, there isn't. But you
I always just say fuck them.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, I don't pass. I'm sorry. I scored too many goals, right?
Sounds like you're gonna have to sign up as a forward next year because I kind of want to see it. I don't believe it.
Last season.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
And season 4, 3,
oh,
and
damn.
2.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just shut up.
So
I'll sign up as a center for you, and I'll show you how to win a face-off.
So the one series, are we surprised Thunderbirds knocking the Bears out in 5? We said obviously four of these games were overtime victories, and all games were close. So not indicative of it being a 5-game series, but the Thunderbirds taking this in 5 has to be, one of the bigger surprises that we've seen so far.
I think you said it best last night. You would be surprised if the Bears won 2 games in a row, and you also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, just because of how close these games are. So, I wouldn't have guessed that this series would be done in 5 games, but judging by the way that both teams played, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that the Bears fought right to the last second. They were just 1 second short getting that tip-in goal. And all of a sudden, that would have been a tie game, right? With the tip-in. So, right. I mean, it's not like they were blown out in these games here. They're all close games, and it could have easily been, 5 games the other way.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'll tell you one thing too is that Kornak played in 2 games, 2 wins, 5 goals. He had all of them.
Yeah. He's their MVP right now, no question about it. I think Red Raiders played very well, but I think Kornak has been he's been the heart and soul of that team so far, and he's been dragging them through each round. Right, not to take away from the defense, who's been amazing, but he's been supplying a large percentage of the offense.
And Kornak, again, season after season. As more talent is coming to this league, it's odd. He's actually, he actually dominates more and more every year. Some want to probably think that he might be ready to go up to the NHL.
For sure.
And yeah, I think that's a.
If not, we'll send him there.
As a goalie, I agree. I agree as a goalie. Get him out of here.
Yeah, he is a goaltender's biggest nightmare. One of the biggest ones. Certainly a guy.
Him.
Yeah, I don't know any goaltender whoever said, "Oh, I love the challenge that Kornet gives me."
No.
We pray he's not in the lineup when we play.
The only goalies that want him are the ones that are on his team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe some of those who are out of the playoff now. Thought they had a chance and just didn't. Hey, how about the Americans now winning 2 in a row? Toronto up 3-2, and stopping a skid can be one of the tougher things to do. And now it's now the Marlies have to find a way to do that, and never easy when things just are going south all of a sudden.
This is the Marlies' step on their neck lineup.
Yeah.
Like this, they're gonna come out. They're gonna come out hot, and they're gonna be. This is their top line.
Yeah.
Like I said, I thought they should have done it last game, but give the other line a chance, an opportunity to take the series. But I really think this is going to shut the door.
For sure. And the same proverbial boot, was on my neck last round. So I can tell you from experience that this line is really hard to beat. And they play a fantastic game. They get a lot of pucks on net from a lot of really good areas. And the Rochester line is going to have all they can handle with the Deer Hunter line for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, you talk about that line. Plus, they also have Looped back on defense playing in this one. So, never an easy go here when you're playing against a good forward team and a solid D back there.
And 2 All-Stars on the starting lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, the tail of the tape does not look good for Rochester. Just looking at both of the lineups, and just their records and points and plus minus, it doesn't look good for them at all. But never count out a team in NHL 18, right? Anything can happen. The
West
Rochester.
Side.
Yeah, Rochester has a great goalie. I was just about to say that West Side is one of the most, one of the premier goalies in this league. He could steal you a game if he gets the opportunity to.
Death Machine had the game winner in that Game 6 after all the issues with the crunch. They came back, played Game 6 and won that one 1-0. It was Death Machine with a nice play in his own zone, defensive zone, and then coming back the other way and a clapper on Great Zilla to win that one. So he is playing left wing tonight with DeBrin and 6'9", Dad's Devil and Bean. Bean's been around for a long time in this league. Solid defense back there. This is going to be a real interesting game. And do the Marlies have too much firepower? We're going to find out. This is a West Side's going to stand on his head and have a great game, or he may leave early. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, if Rochester's gonna win this game, it's got to be a 2-1, 3-2 game. Can't get into a track meet with this line.
I tell you one thing I want to watch with Deal's matchup with the Rain and the Rampage is the defensive pair of the Rampage, Atboot and Fruiter. That was the deep pair that we were watching last night, that towards the end of the game they were having difficulty breaking it out of the zone, getting it out of the zone. I'm going to be watching them closely to see what they can do as far as getting it out of the corners, getting it up to their forwards.
And they're facing a really good Rain lineup in this game. So you're going to have to be on your P's and Q's, especially late in the game. Can't have any more saucing up the boards and getting, picked off or icing it down the ice like we saw last night. That's a great point.
Couple of teams are starting to get things together. The Manitoba Moose are getting their boys together. Looks like JMM, JK Hank, and Lobo, at least in the room right now. Bob the Ostrich and Killer Sound on defense, and Arch Mangus is going to be in net for this one. So, and it looks like the West Coast is getting up and running. Ontario and San Antonio. At Boot has his stream going. We'll keep an eye on him. Looped has got one going for Toronto. They're all in their locker room ready to go. And it looks like the invite was sent a while ago by the Rampage a couple of minutes ago, but they're still waiting right now. Manitoba has sent their invite. We'll head on over to their screen as they await Iowa to show up. And it looks like we've got the Marlies and the Americans also about ready to start up, so we'll get that one going soon as well.
I almost don't know which game to pay more attention to. Like, all three of these games are huge, obviously being game 6, but just in terms of the entertainment factor, I think it's going to be like every matchup is great.
Interesting situation here. West Side isn't, now he finally readies up. It looked like they might have thought about backing out there, but they're all in there and ready to go, so this game is about ready to get underway between Manitoba and Iowa.
Yeah, the rain game is starting up now as well, too. At the same time as the Marlies game.
And we'll take a look at the Marlies and the Americans right now as that one is about ready to face off. We see the rain in San Antonio also getting ready.
It's gut check time for the Americans. Gotta have a big game here.
Let's take a listen to that game.
Prevents the pass from being complete. Pitching it to Williams. Couldn't get through there.
And quickly, Toronto getting some opportunities.
Ooh.
And let's head down to ice level.
It's going to be like that all game. We just got to weather the storm.
The more I play this game, too, guys, it's so... and you play competitive hockey, it's such a difference when you go up against a line that is okay and pretty good and, pretty pedestrian. But when you go up against an elite line like this one of Soul, Deere, and Williams, the difference in play is just so obvious. And how quick they pass and how they know where each other is. It's just practice and repetition mean everything in this game. And when you know where each other's going to be and you can pass really quickly knowing that, it's such an advantage.
And fair play to Orioles. I'll give him a ton of credit for keeping this line together all year long. They've had all year to prepare for this type of series and these types of games, and they know where each other are. And like you said, practice and repetition. What better way to do that than in an LG game, right? Instead of turning it over when you have a bad week. And the Marlies have had their fair share of bad weeks.
That's for sure. As you see, 15 minutes left to go in the first. Another shot on net, West Side there. Manitoba still waiting.
What a reaction save.
3 minutes into their invite, still not getting the Wild to show up there, so we'll see what happens.
Couple of good chances there for Toronto.
Yeah, West Side just standing on his head right now.
Back toward his own end. They start.
You can see the urgency of Toronto to want to close this one out now.
Out to the half.
Yeah. And they're just three-man cycling. They're not even moving it back.
I'll tell you what, even if this Toronto line weren't able to do it in this game, they're going to come right back out tomorrow.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you give them another shot, and it just depends on what Rochester line goes out there, right?
Yep.
Game 7s are best on best chance. It's what we all want to.
Well, I mean, if you feel like you've got the best top line, at very least you want to get to that Game 7.
Yeah.
7 is like the main event. Everybody's waiting for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh. It's best on the best.
Yeah, Ontario's up 1-0.
Yep.
The possession up by Pavelski. He caught it and he holds on.
So early lead, bouncing back from a 6-1 drubbing. It's good start for the Reign.
First team in what should be a really physical contest. I don't know how much of this puck he stopped, guys, but it was just enough to keep it out of the net.
We have a winner. Hey! Hangs on
Big save by Fishy.
See a face-off right near.
This is good. Staying calm there, and those tie-ups, man. Like tie-ups are hard to read as a goalie sometimes because you wanna sit on that set play. Very well could shoot it right away. You know, there's a lot of teams can do and forwards can do off of a tie-up, and it's a very good tool to use by a center. And just as long as you call it out to your forwards and know what's going on.
Puck covered, whistle blown.
That's another thing that's like an important factor in a good center is having a center that's going to call out your face-offs.
They win it.
You know?
And call them out properly.
Yeah. It's as a defender, like that slow like counter kickback one is always a killer, especially at center ice or in the offensive zone. If you're not expecting it, you know, you can get screwed with a breakaway going the other way.
Yeah, and veteran centers, you know when to do certain things, and you know it looks like Deer in this game has been mostly tying it up, and mostly just being safe in the defensive zone, which I think is probably a good strategy to do in such an important game.
And a save, knocked right off the stick. Passing one off now to Pavelski.
But I actually like the way that the Americans are playing in this game. They're keeping it simple. They're not giving them a lot of really good chances. It's been impressive so far. And obviously West Side, as you can see, making saves when needed.
1-0 Ontario after one right now.
Positionally, he makes the save and he makes it.
They're in between periods.
Yeah, they set up for a 1T there on the rampage when there was a huge block by John Bond.
Americans in their own end in possession.
Possibly could have saved the goal.
Wow.
Decides to go back and see if his goal.
Another invite send has been made again by the Moose.
Can't get a shot on.
Let's see if the Wild can show up to this.
Yeah, Wild better be careful here.
I wonder if they're trying to if they're still getting that ECU. Maybe they're getting another ECU. What the story is, but they're taking a lot of time.
Tommy did mention in the shout box that they had a guy just completely no show. So that was the earlier game. So I'm not sure if he was referencing this upcoming game or the game before.
With a face-off win.
Who does that in the playoffs? Like
you'd be surprised. You would be surprised.
I guess it's probably something simple like you had a barbecue to go to or something.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's guys falling asleep, from my experience.
We've had that before.
Yeah.
That would not be a surprise. I mean, I hate to say it, but it would not be a surprise.
We started 2 games once last season with a sleeping guy.
Jesus.
First, it was just him staying there.
Well, it looks like the Wild want the spotlight, and they're going to delay their start of their game so that we can talk exclusively about them. So,
well, listen, from an ethical standpoint here, if you're a manager, at what point do you start thinking about calling forfeit in a game that's this big?
Yeah, that is a good question, and I know there's a certain stigma around forfeits. We saw it earlier this year with the Penguins. Really early in the season, they were forfeited like 11 or 12 minutes into or after the time of the game, which would have been like the bare minimum. You know, in the playoffs, you know, a part of me wants to say, you know, follow the rules. The other part of me wants to say, like, play the game, right? It's game 6. It's an elimination game. You know, give them a chance. But, you know, if you're waiting a half hour, that's no good for anybody.
It wouldn't be the first time that the Manitoba Moose have called a forfeit in the playoffs. I remember Vibes did it 2 seasons ago when he was managing the Manitoba Moose, and that was a huge controversial thing that was talked about.
Yeah, I would hate to. I think pretty much if you're a fan and you want to watch this series, I think you want to see the game played. You know, you don't want them to forfeit it. You want to see the Wild come out and at least try, right? Even if it's with a bunch of ECUs.
But keep in mind too that with all these problems, like, you know, forfeiting other teams, I mean, it's perfectly fine. That's the rule is there, so you forfeit them. You know what I mean? If you don't take a forfeit, you go ahead and burn yourself, then you're going to kick yourself for not taking the forfeit.
damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's the saying.
But keep in mind, all of this is not like the other team's fault or the manager's fault. It could just be one person, not showing.
And it looks like they're playing now, so we're good to go. They started.
They didn't go with that ECU defender that we thought they were going with. I'm guessing he was the no-show. Eskin 32, the minus 122 plus minus guy. They ended up going with Irish guy 1005. This season he played in the CHL, went 5-14, 1 goal, 10 assists, and a minus 37. So not the best of years, but
better than minus 162 or whatever it was.
Listen, for this game, he better pull up his big boy pants and help out his team.
Oh, we have a goal from the Rampage, tying the game up 1-1. Second period, 6 minutes left.
For the Wild, it's Kessel, Gohawks, and Oduya. C. Mike, and as you mentioned, Irish guy on defense, and Jones is in net for this one.
And there it is, an early goal here for the Manitoba Moose.
A great shot. Good pass to J.K. Hank, and Hank with the first goal and the first blast in this game 6.
Great start. They were ready to play, and it shows on the shot.
Going to have to see something from the Wild here. And looks like the Marlies are just hitting the power play.
No score in that Marley-Rochester game again. Almost halfway through the second period. Keeping an eye on all three of these games right now for you.
Yeah, Marlies are getting their shots in that game. Westside is just playing lights out right now, keeping his team in it.
Yeah, he's to reference a player from a couple seasons ago. He's going full Tyler Loki in this game.
And again, this line of Soul, Deere, and Williams, you keep them shut out in one half of a game. That's pretty damn incredible.
Yeah. And like I said off the top, you're looking for a 2-1 game here. If you're the Americans, you can't get into a track meet with these guys. You got to keep them off the board.
So good at moving the puck and helping out.
And just an update on the Reign game. Reign are out shooting the Rampage 11-3. So definitely carrying the pace of the game right now.
We're going to stick with this Manitoba-Iowa game for as much as we can, just because it is really the pretty big game right now. We'll take a look at the other games from time to time when we get a chance. You see Iowa with 7 left to go, down by 1 in the first period. 9 minutes left to go. Americans and Marlies, no score. And 1-1 just starting the third, Ontario and San Antonio.
Terrific pass through the middle. He's got it on his stick. Napped by Michael. Iowa's up the wing, settling things. Carries through center on the way.
A lot of poke checks going on here in this Manitoba game. And there's another one.
And another great pass to Hank. And is now 2-0 Manitoba.
This might be. I'm getting a little nervous here. My pick's not looking so hot no more.
Well, I'll tell you what. The way this whole season went, the way the way Iowa has been playing, and now Toronto finally gets themselves on the board. They're up 1-0.
Big pass from behind the net from, I believe it was Deer Hunter. That was a beautiful pass.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Hunter
a really good pass in the slot.
On the assist from the goal from Soul. And that's man, that scoring line has happened so many times this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen the. I'm trying to keep an eye on this game as close as I can with the Americans and the Marlies.
Now Ontario has gone up 2-1 now in their game, scoring here in the third period. Hydrate with the goal in that one. Last minute now here. Iowa.
On the outside, a shot.
Oh, that one hitting the post and almost sneaking by. But look at this defensive setup. They are really playing that slot. They are not paying a lot of attention to the points. They are just collapsing down and trying to play the best defense they can right in front of Arch.
You know, I think they can understand that, like, as a forward on the Wild with this ECU that you never played with before, you know, how much are you going to trust him in the offensive zone to give him a pass?
One shot on goal so far for the Iowa Wild in the first period.
I don't think now against a really good defensive team to do anything but trust him. I think you got to just go for it. Just give him the puck. If he's open, give it to him.
Yeah, well, you know, it's NHL. If people are stubborn,
yeah.
You know what I mean, and they trust themselves sometimes more than they do a stranger. And I don't know. Let's see if they utilize them. You know, somebody keep an eye on.
The Moose players are pretty smart. They're going to see, and there's a penalty taken, so the Wild are going to go on the power play here, but they're going to see that you're avoiding passing it to a certain player. They'll realize that pretty quickly. So you want to get them involved.
They are really just, and this has been the tone from the Moose all series long. They are hitting guys right at the line. They are just taking players out. Been a very physical game by them. They beat up Tommy pretty well in the first game, and obviously he came back to play well. But
they will resume from their own end of the
I'm so glad IC went in net today.
He's making some big saves right now.
I'd be pulling hairs out.
Take a look at the Moose game. Iowa 2-0 Moose. And in a few minutes we'll switch over to the Ontario-San Antonio game. That one has 7 minutes left to go in the third, with Ontario still up 2-1. So we'd like to catch the end of that one if we can.
The scrappy Rampage keeping it close again.
Play could have made a big difference, but didn't. Waffle boarded. Right on his stick from the left wing. Good out.
Another good opportunity there.
Not often you're all alone in front of the
The Moose. Now another penalty coming up on the Wild.
Jeez.
So that'll be another power play opportunity.
The penalties have killed them tonight.
Going to the box. Here hit the ice.
And Toronto has scored again. It looks like it is again.
Iowa setting things up in their own end.
Yeah, it looks like it's Sol again with his second goal of the game. And Toronto a 2-0 lead now, 16.5 left to go in the third.
It's a big hill to climb against a really good line, and looped back there on defense. They're going to need a quick one here before the halfway mark of the third period if they want a shot at this one, I think.
I don't think I've said this yet, but I really wish I was still on Toronto.
Don't we all?
Yeah, well.
It would be nice. It's nice. I mean, I would have loved to not face 15 shots a game on average.
Yeah. I was having a great season until I got traded.
Clean win.
As it typically does.
Steelmaker knows what that feels like, getting carried by the rest of your team. I absolutely was getting carried.
We're not going to have any guests anymore if you can't.
Nah, just good goalie banter. Well, you know what? I tell you what, goaltenders can look incredibly great, but if their defense is not there for them, it doesn't matter how on you feel. If your defense doesn't help you, you're so fucked in this game.
And I mean, goalies can make a big difference, but also they can only do so much, right? You can only stop so many one-timers. You can only,
absolutely,
you know, make those types of saves so often.
We're going to catch the final minute here of the game, Ontario and San Antonio.
And in control of the puck.
We are down to the final 50 seconds.
Anthony's been aggressive all evening long.
I thought that could have been a hit from behind.
Tries to spark his team.
I thought that was going to at least be a penalty.
And this is the same, and steal again with these panic plays in the last minute. This defensive pairing has really struggled in these close games. Puck out of the zone or making a good pass. And as you can see, San Antonio has 5 shots on net through a whole game. They need to just get things on net here.
You know what? They all just play together so well. Patty and John Bon, they just shut it down.
Yep. Now, look, yeah, they, I talked about another defensive pairing that we've seen, a couple of defensive pairings that we've seen in these series in the playoffs so far, but that is one that definitely has played incredibly well. And Patty Ice, I mean, I tell you what, just time after time, the guy is there. Good save by Icy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Los Angeles has possession.
Let me just watch the end of this game.
He works it along.
Ontario just trying to get this one frozen on the side. 7 left to go. Still holding on to it. Now it comes out the other way. Good block, though.
And we're going to see a Game 7.
And a late goal there. And there will be a Game 7. Ontario and San Antonio are going to be going to Game 7 tomorrow night, so we will absolutely be back on the air now.
And if I'm the Rampage, I'm talking to this defensive pairing. The GMs are going to have to talk to them about getting the puck up the ice quicker to their forwards at the end of a game. Like, fair play to the Rain players, but, this is 2 games in a row we've seen this defensive pairing struggle to get it out of the zone.
I want to know who their Game 7 forwards are going to be.
I think the real discussion is who's the Game 7 goalie going to be for the Reign. I think that's what we should be talking about.
We pretty much know who's going in that.
Yeah. I think you have to go. Well, look, I think both have played well, but you may have to go with the hot hand right now.
I think you're right. Game 7.
Yeah,
100%.
But I understand your point, Deal. And you know what? If you're a goaltender and you don't want to play in these games, then you should quit, because you should want to be there. If you don't want to be there, and you,
yeah. So I mean, I'll just take a hike or something, right?
Well, I don't know if you guys are watching this. The Wild and the Moose here.
Yep, we are.
Wild, they're just breaking down defensively. Look at all 5 players are crowded right in the slot. Leaving a lot of open space on the outside for Manitoba to skate around. It'd be nice to see him spread out a little more, break out, cut off the passing lanes. But they're all on top of each other.
And we've got about 4 minutes left here in the Marlies Rochester game as well.
Yeah, we're switching over to that one right now. You see 20 shots on goal for Toronto already, even with 4.5 left to go. The Americans 11 shots, not bad, but time on attack 848 to 321. That is a big telltale sign right there.
And I hate to count a team out, but I don't know if the Rochester Americans have the firepower to get them through this 2 goals in 4 minutes with the current lineup. I don't know if that's doable for them against this line.
Well, we're going to keep on that game for now, and then cut back over to the Moose and the Wild. We want to watch the last couple of 3.5 minutes here of this game between Rochester and Toronto.
Nothing there, so he banks it off.
You got Tommy, the GM or AGM of the Wild, already in the shout box saying, "Good series, Moose."
Oh,
Jesus, that's not a good look.
Good vote of confidence for your team there in the third period while they're trying to come back.
I mean,
there's no psych out. And the Moose, maybe there is a reason there.
Yeah,
the Moose have just put their third up there.
I think that's a rip.
That one off the boards and ahead.
Well, it definitely is when you see your management say something like that in the shout box. And that's a shame. It really is.
And I mean, you gotta have. I mean, hell, man, if you want to be a manager, especially next year, like, what kind of player wants to play for a guy who's doing that? I mean, you're giving your all for this guy. You've been doing it all. You've had a great season together, and you're gonna dog your players down like that. That's rough.
Well, listen, I think he's in there. He's throwing it on the lag outs and no shows and people showing up late. I get it. It happens to every team.
It's all part of the game, dude.
But especially in AHL, like, you got to plan for the playoffs. You have to plan at the trade deadline. You have to bolster that TC and bolster those ECUs, those amateur ECUs, those playoff eligible ECUs who can play for you, who can show up at a moment's notice. Like, you gotta have maybe 2-3 ECUs on standby, you know, every
in the playoffs
night.
For sure. Absolutely, you should.
Yeah, it's something that you have to plan for, and you can't be scatterbrained. People show up late.
And Toronto coming back the other way for a breakaway in the waning seconds of this one. Nope, just calling a penalty.
You got to give him a penalty shot on that ref.
13.5 seconds left to go, and it looks like Toronto is going to pull this one out and close the series out finally. Good comeback by Rochester to get 2 wins back-to-back here, but great defense.
Iowa just scored a goal as well, too. So 10 minutes left, 3-1. It's time here now. Making it a game.
And Toronto has just closed that one out. Great 2-0 shutout for Fishy Dangles. Great job in net by him, and good, just enough offense. But great play by Westside. You know, he kept them in this game right down to the end, and you can't blame him for anything on this.
Absolutely not. He's been great for them all season. I had a couple good duels with him, and we would message afterwards and saying, you know, I wanted to see him badly in the playoffs because he's a great goalie to go up against.
And so that game is finished now, and we've got just one left. Manitoba up 3-1. We're hitting the 8-minute mark here left in the third period. As you mentioned, Iowa finally put one up on the board.
And this has just got to be simple hockey from the Moose. And you'd think that they know that, but I think sometimes just saying it in the party, it goes a long way. Just calm everybody down. You know, you're up a game. Just don't do anything stupid. Oh, and there's a goal.
And now it's only a 1-goal game.
Jesus. 5 minutes left. Puck's on net here now.
Shots on
only
goal.
2 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting close back in now. And again, you know, we this is dangerous territory right now. This is a situation where you've got to get something going here, and get back defensively and stop messing around. And not sure what's going on with the with this team, with the Moose, but they've let up a little bit here.
And if the Wild come back here, Tommy's going to have some explaining to do to his team. That's for damn sure. And that might be all she wrote. So he might not.
Quick timeout, and that turned it around for them.
Listen, maybe he's doing some kind of reverse psychology kind of stuff.
Yeah. I'm not down for that.
I don't know. People manage in different ways. People react in different ways. I don't know.
It's just facing adversity, right? Act like you've been there.
You know what? That's a good penalty.
That could have been a goal. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a good penalty.
3 minutes left, 2 goals. You need. It's going to be a tough tale, tough order. They're getting shots.
On the power play, as you see, 1.5 minutes left to go.
Get it out.
Good play by Teal there.
There you go. Finally getting it out of zone.
At this point of the game, Doc, that's a good play to get it.
Oh, Jones.
Yep. Kill it.
Oh, Jones. I'm not sure I like that.
Kill the time.
Banked right ahead.
Those wraparounds are susceptible right now.
Scoring zone. What a great glove save.
Let's check in at ice level with Ray.
Kaminsky's had some sweet.
I'd love to get you guys' opinion. How do you feel about pulling the goalie in this game? Do you feel like it's not warranted to get a computer out there, or would you do it in this situation if you're the Wild?
Possible to miss out there, Ray.
I mean, you saw a team do it last night. I forget what game we were watching.
To Tarasenko.
Somebody, it might have been the Moose. Somebody pulled the goalie last night when they were down 1.
Now we're back even.
The coach is yelling.
I don't know. Like,
Stay out of the box, but they don't
you can make an argument for either way.
become a little dozy while they.
But it would suck to have the game end on a computer.
Last minute of regulation.
I think if you pulled the goalie and the goalie got to play that extra skater, I think I'd be more down for it.
Great stand-up poke check.
But I don't trust computers in this game to do
You're
anything.
asking too much of EA.
Laid on.
Good save by Arch there, getting in front. But and there he came off the post a little bit, maybe. That
Okay, now
clapper,
it's interesting.
short side, 28 seconds left to go. A 1-goal Moose lead. And now that last goal looks really important.
Iowa season.
The clutch right now.
Yep, this is it. This is the season on the line. 28 seconds. You got to have a set play here off the draw. This is what we're talking about, face-offs. And Deal, you asked the question earlier. Yeah, face-offs are important for moments just like right now.
Hey, it's time for that ECU Irish guy to be a hero.
Yo, that's playoff lore. That would be historical.
The largest one this game has seen.
I'm trying to get him to jump. When's the draw?
Yep, and they're pulling the empty net.
And they get the zone. See, this is where you probably didn't want to pull your goalie.
Nice play with the stick.
It's all right. Keep it low.
Well, 10 seconds now left.
This is it.
Empty netter.
Oh.
And now back the other way. Flips it. Back in
Can't
zone
give that
2.
puck away.
1. And that is it. And Manitoba holds on, and they have closed out the series. Wow.
Fair play to Manitoba. What a great game.
A damn good try by the Iowa Wild with all sorts of issues, of course, but they threw a team out there that did pretty well. Hank and JMN with a pair of goals. Lobo with 4 assists in this game. And that is the whole thing right there.
And, fair play to Lobo Dangles. I think he's taken a lot in his time here in the AHL for maybe doing a little bit of scrub hunting. But, games like this and winning championships, I don't think people can say that kind of stuff anymore. He's proven it. 4 assists. It's a big performance in a huge series-winning game.
Listen, whether a scrub hunt or not, like him and Nazi and have done a great job, at least over the past 2 seasons, of putting together winning teams.
You can't scrub hunt for long, right? I was looking at the all-time leading scorers, and I mean there you see him right at the top, regular season and playoffs. I mean, how do you scrub hunt in the playoffs? It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point.
Well, I think he proved that last season, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I think Lobo proved that last season. When you get deep into the playoffs and you play well, and you get your team to a championship, I don't care all the other talent that's around you. He played well. Look at his numbers in the playoffs last season. He played well right down to the end, and that speaks volumes to the kind of player that he is. But
here's the thing: you can't even call him a scrub hunter this season because he wasn't even their top line. The top line was that Bertone line. You know what I mean? Now, I can understand that. Yeah, Bertone going out there and playing every, bottom 15 team in the league, but it's not. So he matches up who he matches up with. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that question, I think, he was going to take a lot of hell for a while, and he's dealt with it pretty well. So, good class shown by him. And he'll continue on here. We got Fishy Dangles, and we've got Corneck on, who have joined us now. Congrats to both of you on closing out your series. I'll start with you, Fish. You threw your big line out there. West Side did a hell of a job on the other side, keeping you guys churning the whole game to edge this one out. But again, as a team, you guys played great defense yourself tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I knew it was going to be a close game. I had a good feeling that West was going to show up. Told the guys, I know, because they I think when we played this line game 4, it was 6-2, 5-2. So the guys were excited to play the same line that they already beat in game 4. But I told them, it's an elimination game, anything can happen, and it was 0-0, I think, going into the second, and then we got those two, and then we just shut it down from there. But hats off to West. He kept them in that game.
And I didn't say it on the broadcast because I didn't want to jinx you, but you had yourself a nice shutout tonight. Good effort by your guys, and of course, I was saying to the guys earlier, and certainly Deal understands it too. And you're a goaltender, and you know that you've got good defensemen on either side for you for that game. You feel more comfortable out there, and whenever Lute is in there. As great as he is defensively, he adds to the offensive well. He's such a good all-around defenseman.
Yeah, well, this last game, our defense kept them outside. I don't even know if they even had a close. I think they had maybe one shot that was remotely close to being in front of me. A lot of the shots were coming from the outside, and they did a great job of just forcing them to shoot, and they just suffocated them. They couldn't get anything going, and put up the big zero. So hats off to my defense and the forwards because they really shut it down in third. Deer stayed back, and we just put the trap on and just won the series.
12 shots on net against you, 21 against West Side. And again, that line of Soul, Deer, and Williams just doing amazing work. The fact that Soul had both goals and the other guys had had assists on both goals, just speaks volumes to what that line always does. And we were talking about it earlier. You watch them play, and they are so in tune with each other, and it's so obvious when you're watching the game.
Oh yeah, those three, they're always on practicing. As soon as everyone's off of work, especially Soul and Deer, they're the first ones saying club. Well, besides Pride and Cred, but yeah, they're constantly doing club and just working on their game. And if you can hear them during the game, it's just communication 24/7. So, and that's what happens. The best lines do that. They communicate and adjust during games, which they do very well. And they're playing great for us right now. Big reason why we're going to the third round.
And now you take on a Thunderbirds team who were able to get past the Bears tonight in 5 games. And Kornek, again, the hat trick tonight for you. Another good game for your team in general. And, again, all close games. But the fact that you're closing out the Bears in 5, does that surprise you at all?
Yeah, I guess it does. I thought it was going to be a long series, 6 or 7. But then again, every game was really close. 4 OT games, and the last game there missed OT by a millisecond maybe. So they were all close. It wasn't a 5-game series like how it was played, but
right.
It ended up being finished in 5.
And now you wind up taking on a very tough team in Toronto. I think this is the matchup that everyone figured they'd wind up seeing, and you guys certainly have seen each other a few times this season. What does your game plan change any differently from team to team, or you guys gonna do pretty much what you've done so far and just try to apply it to what the Marlies do?
I don't think much changes. We know that the Leafs got a really good squad over there, and the Bears also had the same type of squad, I'll say. Maybe not as good as the Marlies are, but they were very close in skill level. So there's not really much to change up. Just go out and play your game and hope to win.
And on the other side, Fish, what do you do now here? It just seems like you guys also have been just playing your game, and you don't necessarily adjust to anyone specifically. Anything you do differently for the Thunderbirds coming up?
Well, team needs to be prepared for better competition, that's for sure. Nothing against Americans or Devils, but T-Birds are definitely better than both those teams. So I think it's going to be probably going to be a long series, and it's going to be probably close games. Definitely going to be defense and goaltending, but I think it's going to be tough to get goals. It's going to be real close games. Wouldn't be surprised there's a couple OT games, but we're excited. I want to take down Korn, so I'll probably put myself in each game he's in. So, yeah, we're excited.
Hey, listen, best of luck to both of you, Fish and Cornick. I appreciate you guys coming on, and good luck with the next round. I think we're going to see something pretty interesting with you with your two teams going at it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Thank you, Sips.
For sure. Thanks.
Thanks, Fish and Cornick. Oddly enough, the two guys are going to be co-captains on one side of the All-Star game coming up soon. It might be this week. I don't know where we are with that yet, but hopefully we'll get some more info for that on that for you soon. But we're also trying to maybe get Dr. Nasty on as well. And I know he wants to try and come on and talk, but we'll see if we can get him on. If not, if we have a chance, we'll try and do that. As you see the playoffs right now, it is the Thunderbirds and Marlies going at it in the next round. The Moose are now waiting to see who wins with the Rain and the Rampage. Game 7 will be tomorrow night. I have to look and see what time that would be, but we will be carrying that one live tomorrow night, providing we get a stream from someone, and I'm going to hope and pray and talk to a lot of people, see if we can get one together for tomorrow night. But again, Game 7, Rain and Rampage, I don't think any of us are really that surprised that this series is going 7.
No, definitely not. I think I said Rampage in 7. So I know who I'm cheering for officially tomorrow.
Is that your same feeling too?
The big question is going to be what goalie they go with for the Rain. If they're going to stick with IC before UC or Anderson. I tell you, I think I just stick with IC before UC, but you know the kind of character that Deal is. He's going to want to be in that game, so I'm curious to watch it.
And you might actually see the game 6 lineup just play for the Rain as is. I would think.
You think? Yeah.
That lineup played very well, and I think J-Row, Hydrate, Ubunja, the defensive pairing was really solid, and they'll probably go up against the Codester line, I would think. I would imagine they probably put full throttle in at left D, and then fill someone in at right D. I'm not sure who their top right D would be, but that would be my prediction for that lineup.
Well, again, we are going to wrap it up here now, and tomorrow night, like I said, we'll be on the air with Game 7, the Rain and the Rampage. There's nothing right now set up for tomorrow night, so I'm assuming it will be a 9:30 game, but it could be 10:30. We'll see.
I checked; it is 9:30.
It is going to be a 9:30 game. Okay.
Yeah.
So if that changes, we'll jump on the air sooner. But it's scheduled for 9:30 tomorrow. We'll be on the air at 9:30. We'll hopefully have you guys on as well to wrap this one up and get that last game in there. But again, before we get going, just some final thoughts of what you guys have seen so far. The overall quality of this round it has been really, really good. I mean, we've seen several teams in this round that we could have said could win this thing, and maybe the Americans weren't set up for it just because of some issues late in the season, but any of the other teams you could say are legitimate contenders, and that's my takeaway. We've seen some really good series happen, and any of those other teams could have been heading to the finals, or at least heading to the semifinals right now, and it just speaks to the quality of talent that we have in the AHL right now.
I'd agree with that. I think you could see any of the 5 teams that are remaining that are still alive right now could easily go all the way and win this. I'm really excited to watch the Thunderbirds and the Marlies next week in that semifinals. I think that's going to be a great series to watch, and even tomorrow night with the Game 7, that's just going to be just as exciting. So I'm looking forward to it. Anybody can win this. So there's no clear favorite.
Yeah, I think for me, you got a team going for. So you want to see which one of these other remaining teams can match up and beat them. the west, on the west side, like I'm not sure who matches up better with them in terms of the Reign or the Rampage, because they're just so close to each other. And both top lines in the East are very good. And it'll be the depth players that will have to, kind of pick up the slack against a team like Manitoba. Because in my opinion, and I think most people would say that the Manitoba Moose are probably your favorite right now. I'm starting to trend a little bit more towards the Thunderbird. I'm getting on that bandwagon, I think, moving forward.
All right, well, gentlemen, we will see you tomorrow night. Thanks for joining in again on this one, and go Game 7 for Ontario and for the Rampage. Again, thanks for your help tonight, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Again, this has been AHL PSN Hockey, the playoffs here, round 2. Want to thank Crocodile and Marks for joining me tonight on this broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow night for Game 7. Rampage and Ontario Reign go at it to close out that final spot of the 4 that are remaining. You've been watching AHL PSN Game of the Week and LeagueGaming.com. I'm T-Sibs for Croc and for Mark saying so long, and we will talk to you tomorrow night.